What is going on, my old gaming darlings? I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to the test video of RioGamer88. We are going to be playing Rallycross on that is originally the PlayStation onto the PlayStation 5. You don't want to miss this out. So with Rallycross, you get introduced to a multiplayer choice of whether you want to do 1, 2 or 4. So obviously if you've only got one controller available, then of course it will only allow you to play one player mode. You get the multiple choice of whether you want to do a single race or if you wanted to do a season. Now with single races that you do have the flexibility of which tracks you want to do, of course. With season, however, the only thing is that with them is that once you start getting into the season race, you cannot just go back to one of the tracks. If you somebody who has wanted to always get first place, you cannot just go back to the race to resubmit or anything. You have to start all the way back, so do bear that in mind if first place is your priority. So we're going to start off first with the single race, and we're going to actually just do a solo race, which of course is only just going to be yourself. There's going to be no other computer racers or anything else. Now at the start of the game, that you're obviously going to be only shown of 3 different difficulties of rookie, veteran and pro. Rookie being beginner, veteran being medium, and then of course pro being difficult. You can only unlock these 2. Obviously completing rookie you get veteran, and then veteran, once you complete that, you get pro. And you normally start with up for 3 different courses. You've got Oasis, which isn't so bad. It's quite actually we'll just go back into it. So where you could see the light brown, oh, it's not brown really, it's more of a beige really. The beige tracking is more of, you get a few hill bumps or anything, but obviously as you can tell from the left hand side of the course, there's quite a few sharp left bends, so take that into consideration. Then you've got Island. It's quite a good speed race on this one, but do be careful of the S-bends on that, because there's a few mud traps, and it does, if you're not used to sort of steering control, whilst it can feel a little bit arcadic, but it does reduce your speeds quite a bit, so do take your driving into consideration. Not that I'm the DVLA, but just telling you. So, and then of course you've got Lost Mines, and it's a typical little number 8 course. However, if you're not too careful with the speed, if you're trying to really accelerate in through, it's the cave, the sharp turn in the cave, and once you come out of the cave there is a massive hill drop, and if you don't control your steering whilst you're going to full max speed, it can really punish you by flipping you over the edge. But for now, we're going to go into Oasis and have a little test about. Now, with the different versions of the courses, it only applies on some of them, not all. But in particular for like Oasis, what the versions is that sometimes it will make some of the tracks restricted, so you have to go through the other alternative routes. Version A is pretty much all of the race course being available. However, version B, one of the alternative tracks is the only way to go through, and the same thing vice versa for C, which I think you have to go through the alternative routes. If I've got that wrong, please drop a comment below and we'll go from here. So version A is forward and backwards. So backward is your typical, I'd say mirror mode, but it's not mirror. Well, it's just going backward. A flicking rhetorical thing to say. I'm so sorry, my old darlings. You get about 8 different cars. Now normally the first 6 are 2. Sorry, let me repeat that. Reinstate that. So there's 2 of the car models. There's 3 different designs with, of course, their own different qualities of the speed, handling, and acceleration. But however, something like the SKB and Monkey, you're only going to see twice. Now, something like that kind of particular model is your all-rounder. Satkins and other similar models It's more built for the speed. Something like for the SKB, it's more built for the acceleration and handling. Me personally, so you've got to be really careful on your choice, especially if you're going to do the season, is to pick the right car, because you have to stick with it throughout the season. You cannot just change mid-season. So, me personally, my favourite, I quite like the Satkins. It doesn't want a bit of speed, but just got to be careful around the bends. You'll see why in a minute. Does take a little bit of time on the loading, so do be a little bit patient. Tip of advice, when you're driving automatic, make sure you use the R1 button to switch straight into first gear, because otherwise you will go nowhere. And then as we go through around the bend, and you can see it's a bit arcadey. If you're not really into like Sabre Rally or Colin McRae rally games, this kind of is my recommendation, but you've got to remember just to have fun and not take it so seriously if you do lose control. You go through the first one, and you can see why it can be a little bit punishable if you don't take the turns too carefully. I don't think I even set that record. But look at the detailing on that. If you did damage to the car, you do show some wear and tear. I don't think it overtakes the performance of it, unless it's really, really badly damaged. But I don't think that's such a major difference. Maybe a slow start up or pick up on the speed if you're trying to like really hurry away. And then straight through, and good lord, I thought I was going to flip. And you can see what I mean, depending on how you read the speed through. Now, it's not just mud traps, there are also wet satin patches or even rivers that can affect your speed, which you think back in the day, oh, that's really realistic. Because there's some games where they don't take that into consideration. It's like, well, how is this even more challenging? For a game like this back in the day, it's actually quite challenging. Quite fun as well at the same time. And it's not just at the front of the car where they show damage and wear. If you smacked it around the side, or even at the back, if somebody had rammed into you, then of course the wear and damage does actually show. And here we go, the white flag is a reference to our final lap. I don't think we're going to make the record on this, but if we did, oh happy days. There's only one downfall about this game I will have to say, is that when you complete all the courses and you unlock all the cars, before you get the chance to save again, it will automatically bring you around at the back. All the way back to you around the beginning of the gameplay, so you do not get the chance to reuse the special cars or anything. You have to do it all again, which is unfortunate. So do time your savings carefully, and it's not an automatic save. You've got to physically save on the game as well, so take that into consideration. But for a game like this, I would say it personally gets a 7 out of 10 for me. So when you complete a race, you obviously get a replay showing what you've done, but you can skip this if you want, or you can just simply watch it, whichever your needs really. I will take into let you know that if you was dead serious of trying to get first place, not that cheating is advisory, But with majority of the retro games, that you know, you can hit the start button, and you can rewind all the way back to where you was doing really well. And if you made a mistake, you can go back to that scene and go from there. However, do be warned that as soon as you press the select button, it doesn't give you a waiting window to get ready to where you was previously, because if you pressed X, it will immediately take you straight away, and of course you will lose speed. So make sure you hold down the speed button, or whether you remember what you tracked yourself of what you pressed into consideration. So anyways, does take a little bit of time on the loading, and there we go. So that was like for the first race of anything. So I hope you enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for enjoying. Take care, my old darlings, and look after yourselves.